Hi friends, welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. Today's video is a bit different. It is a community lot, which if you've watched any of my videos before, you know I don't do a ton of. And this community lot doesn't really have a lot of function. It's more for looks and maybe function in the future or with mods, I don't know. I'm building Brindleton Bay High School, and now this is a series, in a series I should say. This is one concise video. This is the entire construction of Brindleton Bay High School, but in the future I will be doing Willow Creek High School, Oasis Springs High School, all the high schools basically, just because I got bored really. Yeah. Nothing really cool about it. I just got bored and wanted to do something. And this is kind of modeled after schools I went to growing up. Little backstory in case you're new here. I graduated high school a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago. That implies that I think I'm old. I graduated high school about 6 years ago. And this is modeled after the high school I went to and high schools in my area. So it's more spread out, and there's also no lockers in this build, though I do promise you later high school builds will have lockers. I just kind of want to keep this a little true to my personal experience in school, which I think everybody can agree high school's not fun. It's just, you know, ugh. But yeah, so I know a while back I kind of like teased a story about me playing the drums, which I originally thought this would be the perfect video to talk about it, but I ended up not building a kind of band room here, so that will be in my Willow Creek video. But in this video I built a theater department, and so I thought I'd talk about my years of theater, both in high school and a little bit in college. So yeah, that'll be in a little bit later in the video. But yeah, just to do a little overview of the build, there is a faculty room, or a front office. There's two separate classroom buildings, a cafeteria and outdoor eating area, a fountain area, a school gym, and I believe the last thing is the theater department. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool. It took me quite some time. There were about 4 to 5 hours of footage, which for me is a lot. I know Beaver Builds spends just a ridiculous amount of time putting so much detail into his beautiful builds, and I really wish I could do that. I really wish, like, I don't know how to do that. Like, there's just so much intricate detail in Beaver builds, and I definitely recommend you check out his videos because they're so amazing. But also Cristey Sims, at the time of recording this, has just released her Coco inspired build, which took her forever, and it's such an amazing video, so check that out, and also check out all of her videos. She just does amazing stuff. So yeah, so this was kind of my attempt to be like them, I guess, because I spent a lot of time on this, and I'm really happy with how it came out. Though I probably could have spent another hour in it. So yeah, so theater. I should probably talk about that. So I wasn't a theater student for most of my high school career, I should say. I remember in middle school it never really appealed to me, and then in high school, same feeling. I thought it was a little silly, not in like a mean way, but I just didn't, like, I thought it would be embarrassing for me to do it. So I stayed away until junior year of high school when I had nothing else to do. And so I decided to take theater, and yeah, the rest is history. No, the rest, there's a story, I swear. So, you know, junior year of high school, I'm with, you know, other beginning theater students, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't really do much. You know, I went to class. I was an extra in the plays we did that year. I stayed to help. You know, it was, yeah, and just all around good time, which is why I decided to continue with theater in my senior year of high school. And so, you know, I was about 16, 17 years old, and, you know, this was like the big leagues of high school theater. So, you know, once again, didn't play the lead in any plays. I wasn't really leading man material, whatever that means. It was no big deal. I despised becoming, like, wanting to be a lead. I did not want to do that. So I played extras and I did set work, and it was all fun. And so I, hung out with friends. A lot of times during theater production days, you'd get to school early for normal, school stuff. So, I'd show up at like 8:30 or 8 o'clock, whatever. I can't remember when school started. But, and then I would leave probably at 8 p.m., which was not fun, but it was necessary, I guess, for the art. So, yeah, and then like after shows, you'd go with friends to whatever food place was open. And yeah, it was just all around good time with friends. And I remember it was the fall play, which I can't remember what it was, but I was an extra and I did the set work, and I was going to be cast as a supporting role, but for many reasons I wasn't, and I was fine with that, sort of. But yeah, it was a weird time, and I was not angry, but it was weird. And then out of nowhere, you get that tickle in your throat and you're like, oh no. And I got like really sick. I had like a fever of 104. I was like on fluids, water. That sounded weird to say fluids. And, it was just like the worst flu I had ever had. But I had, to still show up. So luckily I got sick in like the week between the first and second week of shows. So by the time our first show came back, or for returning, I was feeling a bit better, but I still needed to take medication. And I just remember like in between like set changes and stuff, I was just like laying down backstage, like wishing that I didn't have to do this. But it was, it was okay. I was fine. I didn't get anybody sick, which is always a fear of mine. I take a lot of precautions to make sure I don't cough on people, because I think that's just a generally decent thing to do. So yeah, that goes around, and we're all good. Then musical comes along, and I don't act in it at all, which was fine. And then time to graduate, and I decide, with my limited theater knowledge, I guess, that I wanted to be a theater major, because sure, why not? And so I go to school for theater, and I'm really fortunate in that I get to study under like one of the great theater professors in the US, and well, especially the California area. And it's just an honor, really. And so I had wanted to do like playwriting. I've always wanted to be a writer. I wanted to do playwriting and directing, but the the program I was in, even if you wanted to do that, you had to take acting classes. So I had to take one last kind of thing of acting classes. And yeah, it was something. I studying under this great playwright turned professor, and he was nice-ish. He was kind of mean person, but he was fine if he could tell you were putting in the effort. He was pretty decent. So, and he also knew that like my dream wasn't to be an actor, so he wasn't too hard on me. But he was a big proponent of Stanislavski's The Method, which, if you don't know what method acting is, it is a very intricate and sometimes very bad acting technique. When by bad, I mean it like the performances it creates are just breathtaking and amazing. Some of the greatest actors of our generation, or my generation, and previous generations are method actors. And all in all, you know, if you want that raw performance, you typically will hire a method actor. And so I had, you know, 4 months of like hard-nosed method acting like drilled into my head, and not fun method acting because you really have to commit. And now this wasn't the reason I quit. Well, I never wanted to be an actor, but following this class, I decided that acting and theater especially were not for me. So there was nothing against this professor. You know, by the time I left the program, I had known him for 2 years, or a year and a half. And I realized that, you know, ultimately my dream was filmmaking and, you know, screenwriting, less playwriting. Though in playwriting, the playwright has more power. So, I mean, that was always kind of what appealed to me in terms of theater. Just, yeah, it was just chaos. And so, yeah, I ended up leaving the theater program and started doing filmmaking. Still technically do filmmaking, even though I'm not currently doing any. I used to do a lot of editing and writing. I've written countless short films and a feature. And yeah, it's a lot less stressful, I would say, in terms of the classes. I mean, I you know, filmmaking is, you can kind of take a little more time. Not really, but kind of. I mean, if you asked a filmmaking professor, they would probably argue, but you know, my feeling is that I'm right and they're wrong, so there's that. I guess I should talk a little bit more about this build. There are a ton of classrooms in here. Mainly, I think I might have mentioned this before, mainly my goal for this campus was, you know, like for this series, is mainly for people to do if they want to use them for a machinima. I don't know why I had so much trouble saying that, but you know, if you wanted an art classroom for a machinima, or if you wanted a school gym for a machinima. Okay, now I'm just saying that way too many times. You could use this. You could download it and you could use it, and I think that would be cool. And if you do, you can always tag me on Twitter at at TheSimSanctuary YT, and you know, if you post a video on YouTube, you know, message me on Twitter or tag me in the you know, whatever it's called. My brain is just completely shorted out at this point. But yeah, so this was a lot of fun to do. Hope you enjoyed hearing about my experiences in theater. So yeah, hopefully I don't have to talk about that again. I had nothing against theater. It was a great time in my life, and yeah, I wouldn't trade in those memories for anything. Those were a lot of fun. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification, because there are going to be more videos like this in the next couple of weeks. Next up is Willow Creek High School, which I wasn't able to do at base game, but I think it's only base game plus get to work. So yeah, it's the closest probably to base game that there will be, because I need, you know, certain objects that come mostly from get to work and dine out. But that one I was able to just use get to work. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching, and if you are new, like I said, be sure to subscribe and like this video. Anyways, thank you so much, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.